welcome to the CashPT Lunch Hour. This is Aaron LeBauer, and my special guest today is Alex Engar. Alex is, he's a physical therapist who started as a clinician, but really quickly moved out of treating patients and is now we call him a digital marketing ninja. He teaches ambitious PTs how to do online business and online marketing specifically to get new people. And he started doing this for another clinic and then had people asking him, and it's blown up into a course and a program. And Alex and I we were just before this dorking out on technical stuff because we both do technical stuff. So if you're a technical person, you'll get a lot of this episode. If you're not technical, you're going to get a ton out of this episode. So Alex, welcome to the CashPT.
Aaron, dude, I just got to say, I am so massively excited to be here. I don't know if you know this, but my very first foray into online and PT was at CSM last year, 2017 in Texas. And the very first time I met you, I met Greg Todd, I met Ben and Jean, like all these people who were my idols was at the CashPT Lunch Hour podcast recording that you did there.
Awesome.
That was the very first time I met anyone. So this to me is like just coming back home. I just can't believe I get to be on here with you, man.
That's so cool, man. It was great to meet you. And yeah, you were one of the handful of people that came up and were like, Aaron LeBauer. And I was like, wait a minute, where? It was really funny. I was like, oh yeah, it was cool. I mean, just to see your energy and enthusiasm, because I was already starting to the point in my career where I was like disillusioned with physical therapy and what our potential was. And you've clearly shown that anyone can take a physical therapy degree and make something amazing out of it, even if you're not into treating clinicians or treating patients, you know?
Thank you, man. Yeah, it's kind of funny. There's no way I thought I would be at this point right now, where not clinical at all right now, and very happy with it, to be honest, but still highly involved in the field, which I think is the really cool thing. I know there are a lot of people listening to this that are like, I love PT, but I'm kind of burned out. I have no clue what else to do. I'm going to bail on the profession. Like there's so many things you can do with the specialty that you've got, with the education that you've got, as you mix it with other passions that you have.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I think it's a common misconception of people that, I don't treat patients, I can't do anything else. Or, I have this other combined passion and, I want to, maybe treating patients isn't it, but that's the thing is that what you're doing is you're impacting so many other patients and clinicians through your expertise and knowledge that it's kind of like, it's kind of like treating 10 people an hour. But you don't have to do it
ethically.
But you do it ethically, or maybe more. I haven't done the numbers. So, Alex, tell us, how did you get into, oh yeah, I forgot spike ball. Spike ball. Alex is also a spike ball champion, or
yes, you know it,
a spike ball enthusiast. So tell us, how'd you get into PT, and what exactly is spike ball?
Yeah, man. Okay, the two loaded questions there. First, I'll answer the PT question, and then we'll get into the spike ball. Don't you worry. So when I was 15 years old, like many people, I had a previous PT experience before I went into PT school. Right, I was 15 years old, started having some really acute back pain, had no clue what was going on, ended up seeing a physical therapist, and really, really, really good PT, and had the experience of, oh my gosh, like I can fix my own back. Right? Like I can help my own back pain. I just love the idea that within physical therapy, we're empowering people to solve their own problems in a sense, right? Not be totally reliant on medication or surgery. Totally love that aspect of it. Fast forward a few years, I got married, I was in school, and I thought I wanted to be a neurosurgeon. So I was sitting there as a nearly graduated biology degree, right? And had this epiphany that, oh man, if I'm going to be a neurosurgeon, I'm not going to have a life. Wait a second here. So check. I had taken the MCAT twice, actually. Wow. I had all my shadowing hours. I had what I felt like was a pretty darn good resume to get into med school, and was honestly a couple months away from actually doing the application. And I was sitting down with a friend who was a physician, or was about to become a physician. He was finishing up med school, and he was like, dude, if you don't want to work 80 hours a week, and feel like you can dedicate that to the profession during school and after, maybe you should think about something else. And I was like, oh, wait a second. What? And literally that same week, I found out we were having our first daughter, or
Mm-hmm.
our first child, who's a daughter. And those two things combined really helped me see, like, oh crap, I am not going to be happy going down this road. So
Yeah.
that was the first fork in the road, if you will. And a
Dude,
lot
that
of other,
epiphany came to me the first night of organic chemistry homework.
oh,
So look, I didn't have to. I don't know why you had to wait 2 more years.
man, I should have had it in OChem. I actually minored in chemistry. I really disliked it, really
Yeah.
strongly disliked it, but I minored in chemistry because I thought it'd be great for the resume, right?
Right.
And I like doing tough things.
Yeah.
So that night when I got home after speaking with that friend about med school, I just had this super heavy feeling like, oh, I can't do this, man. Like, I know I can't go into this. I want the lifestyle. So I literally pulled up Google the next morning. My wife went to work. She's a nurse. My wife went to work, and I was sitting there on Google like, okay, medical fields with good lifestyle. So I was like, I got to start looking at this. And of course, what pops to the top? PT. And I
Mm-hmm.
was like, PT. Okay, PT. Yeah, I had PT. I could see that. Like, I could maybe do that. And then I started looking into prereqs, and everything matched up. And I was like, okay, I, I, I'm pretty sure I can save myself here. I've done all this work to get to this point. Maybe I'll just become a PT. And literally that decision was made in like a half hour. A little bit out of desperation of like, okay, when my wife comes home and I tell her that I'm not going to be a doctor, like, I got to do something. And oh, hey, look, PT also has a doctorate degree. Perfect. All the important boxes checked, right? And I thought I was going to be really happy in PT. And I crammed everything into that next summer to get my applications ready, got accepted to the top school that I wanted to go to, and started off year one PT school, anatomy lab, right? Sitting over cadavers, talking with friends, realizing that, okay, this is kind of gross, but it's actually really pretty cool. Like the biomechanics, I loved all that stuff. We got into the clinic, and I started realizing really early on that I wasn't going to be happy treating patients all day long under the current healthcare system, under like the sort of standard PT model of care. And I was actually in a PT clinic that bought your course, Aaron.
Oh, wow.
And I don't know if you remember Cameron Garber.
Oh, yeah, I know Cameron.
So Cameron was my CI, and
Oh,
he was
wow. That's
my
cool.
very first CI. It was hilarious, man. I am so convinced now, looking back, that we just ultimately get guided to the best fit for us. And it might not always be comfortable. We might not always realize the best fit, but I swear I've been guided step by step to where I'm at right now, having no clue at all that I was being prepared for what I'm doing now. But I was the first year PT student in my very first full-time clinical rotation. And I remember sitting next to Cameron and then the other PT that was there. And this other PT had an online business.
Mm-hmm.
And as I talked to him about that, and he started talking about how, oh yeah, I'm actually making more online than I was as a as a clinic director at my last job. I was like, wait, what? Excuse me? He's like, yeah, now I just treat because I like to. I was like, ooh, like that sounds nice.
Mm-hmm.
So that piqued my interest, and I spent so much time in that clinical rotation, picking his brain, writing blog posts to start marketing for that clinic. And then Cameron bought your course. That was the very first time I heard about Aaron LeBauer. He'd watched a webinar, and I was like, oh man, this is so cool. Like CashPT, man, you're going all in. I love it.
Yeah.
And fast forward a couple of years, I just knew that I wasn't going to be happy in a standard PT job. And lo and behold, Cameron comes to me and says, Alex, I've got this cash-based clinic, and I want you to come on, and you're going to need to build up your own patient base if you're going to do it. And this was right before I was graduating. And so in my last rotation, there were 2 pediatric rotations. I was sitting there. I'd go to the rotations during the day, and then at night I'd come home and I'd learn digital marketing so that I could learn how to create a patient base out of nothing at this clinic that I wanted to work at. And after helping Cameron for a few months, we started having some success in campaigns. And then I started finding, I found you at CSM. I found Greg Todd and got plugged into his tribe and started realizing, oh, there are other people who are also dissatisfied with PT,
Right.
who are also trying to do things their own way. And that to me was just incredibly appealing. So that's how I ended up giving myself permission to not have a standard career path,
Mm-hmm.
blaze my own trail. And ultimately it led me into a specialty in digital marketing within healthcare, which I now just absolutely love.
That's so awesome. That's really cool. I love that. That's really, yeah.
Dude, it's been funny too. I know I talk to a lot of people right now that are really burned out about things. They want to leave their maybe it's leave their current job. Maybe it's starting a cash clinic.
Mhm.
Maybe it's doing something total non-clinical, and they're scared because, what will other people think? What will my family think? What will, my boss think? And I'll tell you, it was not easy having that conversation with my wife.
Yeah.
Of like,
Were your classmates or professors like, what are you doing? Like, this is,
they didn't,
or
I
did they have
never,
an
I
opinion?
never told anyone until I actually graduated.
Uh-huh.
And at that point I was starting to dabble in, like, really started to work with clients, helping to get their digital marketing going within PT clinics. And I I really didn't tell people. I wasn't like, hey guys, guess what? I'm non-clinical. Now I'm fine talking about it because I'm a little more confident in my decision. But early on, it's like I had no clue what I was going to do. Right? I had no clarity. And I remember having that conversation with my wife of, hey, guess what? I know I just got this degree, but I actually don't think I want to treat full time, or
Mm-hmm.
maybe even at all. And that was tough. But I love, Greg Todd always says, freedom lies on the other side of a difficult conversation.
Yep.
And man, have I found that to be true.
What other difficult conversation you had to have that, like, well, business related, that have
Yeah.
gotten.
Yeah. I remember, I mean, that conversation by far was the most difficult that I've had. First, I had to have that with myself,
Mm-hmm.
right? Of like, hey, I'm in PT school, but I don't think I really want to be a full-time practicing PT. And I thought that I had to give up the profession in order to realize the path that I ultimately wanted to be on. I thought, I'm going to get a PT degree, and all of a sudden, how am I going to transition out? Like, I was literally planning my transition out the second year of PT school. And people are like, well, why didn't you just quit PT school? Like, well, I had a family, right? I had a
Right.
wife and kids. We had sacrificed a lot to get there. It was expensive. Like, I'd already shelled out a bunch of money. I wasn't about to quit. I wanted to finish the thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I just knew that, having that first tough conversation with myself of realizing, hey, it's okay that I'm doing something right now that may be a little bit painful to me, but I know that if I fight through it right now, I set myself up for what I ultimately want. Then I'm going to be much more fulfilled. And I'll tell you right now, I am highly, highly fulfilled doing what I'm doing.
That's awesome.
So difficult conversations, I think it has to start with yourself. And then you got to get those who are close to you on board. And I've just learned that, sometimes I didn't think this podcast would go this way. But I remember when I started having that conversation with my wife, I was already at the point where, like, I had mentally made that decision long ago, right? It taken me years. And to expect her to immediately be on board and just like, yeah, we're all in, let's go. Nope,
Right.
we're not going to treat. You don't need a real job. Like, that didn't happen overnight. And so I've just learned that when you do have those difficult conversations, you got to be patient with other people,
Mm-hmm.
because they have to go along that same epiphany path that you
Right.
have that's taken you so long.
And how many kids do you have?
I've got 2 kids right now. I've got a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old, 2 little girls.
So at that point, was she like pregnant, or did you guys already have the second one?
At that point, we had the second kid. So we had just bought a house.
Yeah.
We
Oh man,
were
pressure's
fortunate.
on.
Oh man, dude, Aaron, the pressure has really been on. Past 2 years have not been easy. And I think people see right now what Will and I, my business partner, Will Boyd, and I have accomplished up to this point. And they feel like, oh man, like, it's crazy amazing. And yeah, it's crazy amazing, but it's also been really difficult.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I graduated PT school and didn't have a paycheck.
Right.
I had to go make my own paycheck out of nothing.
Yeah.
And that's been tough. So yeah, we bought a house a little bit before I graduated. And my wife's a nurse. Like I said, she just works 2 days a week. And there was definitely been pressure of like, all right, how are we going to make this work? But we found a way. We made sacrifices along the way. And, I've got kids, I've got a house, and a family who needs bread on the table. Like, it's,
Right.
I get it. I
Have
get
you
it.
ever taken a paycheck from someone else as a PT?
I did for 2 days.
Okay.
As soon as I got licensed, I had a friend who said, hey, Alex, I've got a clinic about 45 minutes south of where I was at, and their licensed PT needed to go on vacation. And so they needed someone with basically a warm body and a PT license there at the clinic. And I had been graduated for like a month. And so I went there for like two or 3 days. So yes, I took one paycheck. I have seen some patients, but like man, I can't really say I've ever really done an eval as a licensed PT.
No, me neither. I mean, well, for myself, but like, I didn't work for some, this is the funny thing is, like, I'm asked these questions, and is because I was right there. Like
Yeah.
my kids didn't come while I was in PT school, but my first one was on the way when I was starting my practice.
Mhm.
I didn't work for anyone else. I also had this epiphany of like, I can't be a physician, it's like, it's going to ruin, ruin my life. And, it's like, so it's cool to hear this. And I just want to I want to pull that out because it's, you don't have to work for someone else. You can be
No.
successful as a business owner out of school. So like, how did you start making money?
Man, such a good question. So the very first thing I did, I honestly started, the very first money that I made online was by helping clinicians with video editing. And this is really weird. I had a doctorate in physical therapy and I was making money video editing, which is really weird, right? But I found a skill that I had, and this is kind of on the side. This is right as I was graduating. And I was just in this transition point where I was like, maybe I'll build up my own patient base. What can I do to bring some money in on the side? So I started video editing, and then I started helping people with their own online marketing, their own digital marketing. I took a couple private clients on, helping them, clinics, helping them with their marketing. I had a nutritionist that I've guided who's building her own online platform, online course. And so those things started trickling in little by little. And then as Will Boyd and I partnered up and started creating our own audience, that's when things started really clicking for us, is once we looked at, okay, how can I start taking the expertise that I have right now that I know I can help people with? But then how do I create a business out of that? And for us, it started by, we created a Facebook group, something so like, you wouldn't think that a Facebook group is what could do it for you, but that's what has 100% created our business for us. Starting off was creating a free Facebook group.
Right.
And that led to opportunities to ask people, hey, like, what do you need help with in your marketing? And then people essentially just told us. And so we created that. And then we had a product that we could sell. And that's how we've turned into a six-figure business in just over a year.
Oh, that's so amazing. That's awesome. I love hearing that.
It's really freaking fun, man. It's also not nearly as rosy as everyone thinks it is.
No.
You probably attest to that, Aaron, right? Like,
Yeah. No, I was just telling you about this before we started the show. It's like, it's just one of those things where it's like, no matter how good you do, I think when you're meant for this stuff, you find, it's easy to find the negatives, but you find like ways that you like, I didn't meet my mark, it's like, I have this high expectations. Like, I don't, it's not easy, it's lonely. Hey, at least you got a partner in Will who is like doing stuff with you,
it's so true.
But that's why I've reached out to you a couple of times in the last years, because it's like, well, I need someone else who understands the way my brain works. And you're one of the few people that like can follow everything.
We think so much alike. It's terrible. These inner nerds inside of us that just get going. But that really is so true. I think that having someone else to kind of a shoulder to cry on, or someone to bounce ideas off of. That's how my business relationship with Will Boyd started, is we just had this common interest in digital marketing and started bouncing ideas off each other and saying, dude, I tried this and look what happened. Like, oh man, this totally didn't work out. Or, hey, this worked out. I think it's really important when you're going it on your own, whether you're creating your own cash-based clinic or you're going off and doing your own thing as an entrepreneur, you need to have a community of people to go back to, who understand what you're going through. And I get, like, I'm married. I know that my wife is my best friend and closest ally, but I also need people who are doing the same thing, that are understanding the problems I'm going through at the same time. So that's why I think, finding a tribe is just so crucial in this whole process, especially early on.
Yeah, absolutely. So tell me, I'm going to try to figure out the right question. How do you have, because you and Will are in like a business together, your partner, business partners. How did you figure out that this was going to be the right thing? And then how do you guys, like, what do you each bring to the table, in this like relationship? Like, what are your strengths? What are his? And how does it work? Because I've been in partnerships that didn't work. I've seen people that don't work and seen people that do work. So how do you guys make it work? What are your roles and everything?
That's a really good question. It's really interesting. I've been reflecting on that. I started off, if you were to ask me a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, what I was doing, I would have told you about the 5 different partnerships I was in. I mean, I think it's pretty natural when you're starting off. Like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to do a whole bunch of different things, which good or bad, I don't know. That's how it worked out for me. I'm actually kind of glad that I did see different opportunities and did sort of test them out. There's a really good book called, I think it's Decisive by Chip and Dan Heath, who they talk about how to make decisions. And one of their core ways of making a decision is saying, hey, like go down the path a little bit in each of those decisions so that you can make an educated decision, right? For lack of a better term. So you're not guessing. So I started that way. I had actually had multiple business partners, if you will, that I was starting to sort of do things with and fill it out. Didn't really make too much official until Will and I started really growing this audience that we have now. And the way it started again is we were just friends who had a common interest and then decided, hey, let's start a Facebook group together. But it turned into a real business once we found out that we had a shared expertise and shared mission of helping people to become their own boss, of being able to have their own career path set out and have the tools to be able to do that. Now, you and I share similar visions in terms of what we want to help people create, right? We're just on the like super tech geek side. Like we're all in on the geeky side. And so Will and I, as we decided to work together, found that we both have very compatible skill sets. So when you ask, what does Will bring to the table? What do I bring to the table? To be honest, we can both do a lot of what each other does in the business, which I think is a unique partnership. Because we have those similar skill sets. I really struggle answering the question of like, what's your role? What's Will's role? Because we both share so much of it. Like we literally, I mean, we could both jump on the phone with the client and solve their marketing issue. We could both jump in and create a portion of our course. Like we know how to do all the back end of all that. We can both jump in and be the face of the business within our Facebook group. We can both sit and create the emails. We can do both. And so we're actually going through that like, okay, like how do we delineate roles? And how we've ultimately done that is we've just started to find like, what are each other's aptitudes, right? That we both are just naturally inclined towards. And I have this, dude, I'm just a super geek. Like I'm just a super geek. So I have this really numbers oriented brain. So, okay, it makes sense. I'll start guiding the financial path of the business. Will has the like incredible superpower of caring for people like you just wouldn't believe, and being that like that hand of outreach. So Will is often the one who's just sitting back there like cheerleading on the people who are coming to us, and hopefully we both do that to an extent. But Will just has an amazing gift for working with people in that way. So you just delineate it, based on what you like, what works for you, and realize that it's going to be fluid. Things change as you go, and they certainly have for us.
Right. That's amazing. And you guys became business partners before you actually met in person, right?
Yeah, man. We didn't meet for like 10 months. Let's see, actually. So Will and I met in January of 2017 through a Facebook group. And then we formed our business. We started our Facebook group in June of last year, launched our first product in November. That's when we actually started our business. And then we didn't meet in person until May of the following year. So almost, we had known each other for over a year before we actually met in person. And you know what? When we met in person, it was great. It was really exciting, but it was the exact same. Like we just already knew each other so well because of the power of the internet. I mean, getting on a Zoom call like we're on right now, the connection is pretty darn real. And I think everyone poo-poos, digital relationships, digital connection, but heck, like we were business partners. Will had so much of my money sitting in one of his bank accounts for a while before we were like, it's fine. Trust the guy. I also just lucked out amazingly. Like Will is one of the best, literally one of the best people on the planet. And I just got super lucky to be able to work with him. So I know it doesn't always work out that way, but yeah, man, it's so funny that we hadn't ever met till months and months later.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's really cool. So, let me ask you, I want to ask you like a couple questions. I mean, I think those are great. I want to ask you a couple questions about some of the things that you see people doing online to advertise or market their business that I want to say, they're wrong things, but what are people doing that if they could look at their website or their ads or there's something and go, maybe that's not the right thing. Like, what are you seeing the mistakes people are making?
Yeah. So I'll say that the first one that I see is how people are using social media. And you and I have had conversations about this at length. I've had lots of talks with people about this recently. Um, and I think the biggest thing is you've got to understand the rules of each platform that you're on. And so I see people going on Facebook, sharing a link to something, or like going all in on their business page and paying someone to post on their business page, and they're getting like 3 likes and 30 people see their post, and they're wondering, well, I'm paying someone to do this, why isn't it working? Well, that's not the rules of the platform. Learn the rules of the darn platform. So for instance, on Facebook, like, does it do you a lot of good to have someone posting random quotes on your Facebook page, on your business page? No, it doesn't. I see a lot of people spending money with social media managers doing that. If you want to have success on Facebook, there's some things you need to know. Like, you need to understand how their algorithm works. That if your stuff is going to get shown to people, it's because A, you're either paying for it through Facebook ads, or B, you're connecting with people and showing Facebook, hey, we have a relationship, so they see my content. So that's a big one. From like a granular level, I see a lot of people posting links on Facebook. Links don't do well on Facebook. If you're going to post a link to a blog post, to a podcast episode, put the link in the first comment, and so many more people will see your post. So that's the big one.
And that takes a lot of, you can't automate that. That's the trick. That's the thing, is like, you can't automate share, the comment. You have to actually manually go do that yourself.
Yeah. And that's, I think, the big, I guess maybe the biggest takeaway is, like, you can't just assume that because something is digital or online that you can just automate everything and be totally hands off. I think that you just can't right now if you're going to have success. Either you or someone on your team has to be fairly active on social media in order for it to be able to work. Now, where you can start automating things a little bit is on the paid side, right? That's why you and I love Facebook ads so much, because you do the ad once and suddenly it keeps going, right? Oh, it's amazing, because you do the work once and then there's this ripple effect. But that's a big one. The other thing is just, like, treat people like humans online. It's so funny to me. Will and I joke about this all the time, how different interaction is on Facebook from real life. Like, people are still people. We should still interact the same way. Don't tear someone else's head off just because you're on social media, right? Treat people like people, even though it's social media.
Yeah, that's awesome. So is there anything like, do you guys do website stuff, or you're just doing more like digital marketing?
Man, we refer all the website stuff on. We do funnels. Now that's kind of our business is called Healthy Funnel.
Right.
Which, you know what a funnel is. It's basically like a mini website, right? Where you're leading people to opt in for something like a free guide, and then you're giving them a thank you page, or maybe they have a video saying, hey, if you want a next step, join my group, or come into the clinic.
Yeah. So Alex, explain what, so let's talk about that real quick. So explain, let's back it up. Why are funnels important? Like, why can't I just go create that on my own website? Why is it important to use something like Clickfunnels, or create, some kind of funnel? So a funnel is a website or a landing page, a page where people visit. Why is that so important?
Yeah. So I'm going to back up one step further, and I'll give you my, what I feel like a funnel is. A funnel is a digital representation of a relationship that you would build with someone in person. Okay. A funnel can start in Facebook. Okay. A funnel can start with you commenting on someone's Facebook post. It's just the beginning of the digital relationship, right? And so when I say funnel, I don't necessarily just mean the little website pages that we send people to, but it's the entire experience that someone goes through with us digitally. So someone out there who's thinking, what's this whole funnel thing? Why do I care about it in my business? Well, let's imagine you send someone to your website right now. What would they see? In fact, like, if you're at your computer right now, maybe you get out of the car, why don't you go look at your website? And for someone who's just coming there, how clear is it what their next step should be when they hit your website?
Right.
Do you have a million buttons all over the place? Is it menus galore? Is it overwhelming? Right? That's not an easy way to progress the relationship. a really easy way to progress a relationship is to make sure that you're hitting one very specific thing that people need, and then saying, here's the next step that you should take to help solve that problem. Okay. So when I'm thinking about sending someone through a funnel or creating a funnel for my business, I'm thinking about what's the problem that I help people with,
Mm-hmm.
and what is one solution I can help give them right now to progress this relationship forward, right? So for example, when you date someone, you don't see them on the street and say, you are absolutely beautiful, you're my ideal wife, will you marry me? Like that doesn't work. That also doesn't work online. We don't go up to someone and say, oh, you're just my ideal patient, come in and buy a $3,000 package right now. Like that doesn't work that way.
Book
So
now.
book now, book right now. I know you're ready because you're perfect, right? We don't do that. So what we do is very much like dating. We take them through small kind of micro commitments, right? First thing is, hey, will you even talk to me, right? You see the pretty girl, you walk up to her, or the handsome guy, and he's, hey, will you even talk to me at all? Like, is there even a chance that I have here?
Right.
And that's like saying, maybe I'll put a Facebook ad out in front of someone. And we say, hey, do you even have any interest at all in back pain? Like, is this even remotely something you have an interest in? And they say yes by clicking on the ad, right? So they click on the ad. Now all of a sudden they're going to some page on your website. Well, the next step then is, hey, you know what? I think you're cool. We have some common interests. Maybe we should exchange information a little bit, right? That's what you do in the dating situation. Well, same thing online. You would say, hey, I've got this great back pain ebook or this great video on how to help your back pain. Can I send it to you? Like, give me your name and email and I'll send it to you. So the reason that's important is we want to progress the relationship like we would in a real relationship. Again, the digital world mirrors the real world. So this is why funnels are important. It allows us to very specifically control the experience that someone goes through as they get into our world online. And so you talked about, should you be using Clickfunnels? Should you just do this on your website? Are you in Lead Pages? Are you in Infusionsoft? All these different softwares. And ultimately, in my mind, it doesn't matter which software you use or which platform you use, just that you're able to do it. And we use Clickfunnels. We're like you. We love Clickfunnels because it's easy to share stuff, and that just happens to be the platform that we've mastered. But
so I also I love your analogy and explanation. When I get down to where my brain rests,
yeah,
I love that because I love that. And then where my brain or our brains like that level, I'm like, okay. And a lot of people are like, but ClickFunnels is $97. Why do I need to pay that? I can just, use a page from the email software on my website. That's I know this is the next step, but for those people who are like, I don't want to pay. Why would I pay money for something when I can go create? I know my answer, but I want to know what's sitting in your head on this.
So it's I think about this a lot. Like, if you're starting up a business, what do you have to have? You have to have, if it's a PT clinic, you have to have a space, right? You have to have a physical space that you control. Like, dude, why not just go rent out a storage shed or something? And you could set it up the same way. It would work, right? Dude, it could totally work. You could set up a storage shed and just have a plinth there, right? Throw some heat packs out, whatever. But it's the question of, well, do you want to be able to make the space your own? Do you want to be able to have the control to make something your own? And there are some things that I think are pretty essential when you set up a physical business. If it's PT, you probably got to have a plinth, right? Or high-low table or something to treat on. You've got to have documentation tools. You got to have, right, all those things that you have to set up a business. I think that if you are going to be running a business in 2019 or beyond, you have to have a digital presence that you can control. Right. And you have the ability to put up there what you want. That's why I think it's worth investing in something like ClickFunnels, like Lead Pages, where look, it's just going to be a business. You have to have it. Yeah. But what is it going to do for you? It's like the stock market. You put money into it and it doesn't just go away into a black hole, hopefully, but it brings you a return on investment. And in the stock market, we're really freaking happy if we get a 10% ROI, right? Oh my gosh, put $100 in, I got 110 out. It's amazing. Well, in business, if you set it up properly, your business is the best investment you could make, because suddenly you go and put the $100 in. And what if you got one patient out of that? What's that one patient worth to your business? $1,000, $1,200? no-brainer investment, right? So again, it comes back to like, what are those core things that I actually really need for my business to A, survive, but B, thrive? And that's why I think lead generation systems have to be a part of everyone's business at some point, because you're going to run out of word of mouth or referrals. Like at some point, you need to be able to control who's coming into your business.
Right.
And that's how we make that happen.
And control their experience too.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Control their experience and give them like 2 options that you want them to choose from, not 10 that you'd rather them not choose from.
Exactly, man. So I'm curious, what's your answer for that? Why do you tell people that they need or should be paying for something like Clickfunnels or ActiveCampaign or these softwares that help us market our businesses?
Yeah. Oh, that's thanks for throwing that back at me. That's great. I like it. So it's one of those things where like, even if I own my own website, if I create a landing page on my own website, it's got a lot of distractions.
Yep.
So when people land there, if I'm paying to drive traffic somewhere, I want to give people only one option or 2 options. The option is to get my book or go backwards or go somewhere or get out of the screen.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to give them an option to get the book or go look more about Dr. LeBauer or go, see about these other things. I want to funnel them into a place where that's it. And so I can control the look and feel and experience. And I can more easily do that in something like Clickfunnels because they get there, I can control their experience and take them all the way down and show them things I want them to see, like testimonials and video reviews and all that stuff after they've opted in, and tell them what to do next. Okay. So that's why, to me, that's why it's worth the money. It's worth thousands and thousands of dollars. And I love your analogy, because it was something like I wasn't expecting it. So that was great. A pleasant ad. But yeah, for me, it's all about controlling the experience and the environment. And it's my online presence. I'm not going to send them to just some form because I already have a subscription to ActiveCampaign. I'll just use the ActiveCampaign form. Well, ActiveCampaign form works, but not half as well as also adding ClickFunnels. Yeah. And if I'm going to pay to drive people there, I want to be able to split test and control their options.
It's just like any research study you ever see, right? You want to be able to control all the factors so that you can know what works and what doesn't. And that's why I love that. That's why Will and I swear by ClickFunnels, because it's just so modular to be able to control it. I tried another lead gen system a couple of months ago. I was testing building out a course, and there were just a bunch of things that I couldn't customize. And I was like, but I want to be able to customize what it looks like on a mobile phone. Right. Like that's really, really important to me, because I know when I'm putting ads out there, most of the people come through mobile. So I want to be able to do that. Mm-hmm. I want to make it look good. I want to be able to test like if the button is this color versus this color, or if I do this headline versus this headline. Right. Like, I'm a data nerd at my heart, right? I love looking at research. So I've just applied that to marketing. But how would you feel if, you created some research and you couldn't control all the variables? Like, how could you draw any conclusions out of what's working, what's not? That's why it's just so valuable.
Especially if you're putting money into it.
Right.
And that's why I always tell people is like, there's a lot of things you need set up before you start putting money into your marketing, because yes, you can do it with just money, but if you don't have other things set up, you don't know if your money is working as well as it could.
Completely. And everyone always asks, like, what software should I be using for that stuff? And now Aaron and I just talked about ClickFunnels. There's other ones. Can I mention other ones on this podcast? Yeah, okay. So there's Lead Pages, there's Infusionsoft, MailChimp has its own little version. Like, there's all these different ones, and everyone comes to me and asks, like, I'm using this one. Am I okay on that? Look, here's my honest response. If you're using it and it's working for you and you know how to manipulate the software to get it to do what you want, then use it. Like, use it.
I agree. Like, I used Lead Pages. I use ActiveCampaign. I was on Aweber. I was on a physical therapy specific one. It does it. Like, I'm using the ones I think are the best when I started on them. If I started over again, I'd probably be all in on ClickFunnels. Yeah. And I've got 10 different things. But really, the answer is, what's the path of least resistance to getting a big result?
Totally.
And if
Totally.
you're already invested in something, there's no reason to switch, at least yet.
Right. And something that a lot of people don't know, Aaron,
Yeah.
ClickFunnels has a $19 a month option.
Right.
Right.
Don't tell
People
anyone.
don't talk about, don't tell anyone because
That's how you get ActiveCampaign for $9. Is you have to go backwards and find the, secret.
Yeah. That's the thing. And people are like, oh, wait, how do I get the $19 a month plan on ClickFunnels? Well, it is limited. You can only have 3 different funnels, and there's actually ways around all that. But you have to have someone who has an existing ClickFunnels account share a funnel with you. So if you're like, ooh, that sounds really cool, go grab one of Aaron's funnels and you can sign up for the $19 a month account.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. So how do you do that? I haven't done it in a long time.
Yeah. So we actually have everyone, all of our course students start with the $19 a month account. What you have to do is someone has to share a funnel with you. And that basically means they give you a little website URL from their ClickFunnels account that has one of their sort of pre-built little mini websites on it. So Aaron, for example, you would send out your share link to them. Yep. And they would open up. Here's what usually happens. You know how your browser, like if you go online, your internet browser saves these little cookies. It basically tracks you, right? If you've ever been to ClickFunnels before, then ClickFunnels has put a little cookie on your browser. So I tell people, open up an incognito or a private browsing window, and then paste in that link that Aaron gives you or that whoever gives you. And then it comes up and says, hey, what's your name and email? You put in your name and email. And then when you go to purchase your ClickFunnels account, there should be a third little option that says the $19 a month share funnel plan.
Right.
And if you don't see that, then open up a new incognito window, try again. But that's how you get it. And there's some limitations for sure. But if people are just starting out, that's 100% what I would do. Yeah. Dude, I just created a brand new course that's unrelated to PT. I created the whole course, the funnel and everything on the $19 a month ClickFunnels.
Nice.
Just as a proof of concept.
Yeah.
And it did work.
That's so cool. Awesome. So what's probably, let's say, because a lot of people come to me, Aaron, I need more new patients.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think you don't actually need more new patients, you need something else. But let's say someone is, coming to us and they say, Aaron, Alex, they really say, Alex, I need more new people. And I just need more new patients. What's the number one thing that you would recommend that someone do?
Ask current patients for referrals and send out an email to your current patient list. Like, hey, that's where I'd start, right? You start with the lowest hanging fruit. Now, this is coming from the guy who loves digital marketing, who loves Facebook ads. And I'm telling you, start with the lowest hanging fruit. Like, please,
I love it.
Why would you ignore that? I'm not naive enough to forget that there are people who you're currently treating right now who have friends and family who would also need to be treated, right? Like that, start there. Okay. Is that a fair,
That's it. That's perfect. And, it's like, that's my, module number 1 in my marketing course is exactly that. Module 8, the last module is Facebook ads,
right?
Because I prioritize other things. And, it's like I said, I went out and got lead pages because it was the least expensive way I could split test 2 landing pages.
Yeah.
Right. So I was like, if I'm going to do Facebook ads, I got to be able to split test. And I did that. And I was like, okay, I found the limitation and, I'm over on ClickFunnels because, that's the best thing for me. But I'll get back on track. But it is, yes, it's people forget. They think some of this stuff, it's sexy. They, I got to do this. This is the new thing. And they forget that they actually, have hundreds of people that, they could tap into, like the low hanging fruit.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this.
Yeah.
If you were going to send an email out for one of your clients to their existing patients to reactivate them, what would it say?
To reactivate existing,
or to do what you just told me you would do.
Yeah.
What is that email going to say?
Yeah. First of all, it's got to be in your own voice. Like it has to sound like you. So there's not some formula that I feel like, oh, you have to do this, right? Like make it genuine, make it about you. I always like to tell people, have a reason for why you're doing something. Mm-hmm. So right now, as we're recording this, we're close to the new year. Heck, maybe you say, hey guys, it's the new year. If you're dealing with back pain, or you've got knee pain or something, blah, 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 or someone who does, I want you to send them this email. because right now, since it's the new year, I'm doing some special. I've got something that I'm celebrating, right? And you can come in and get a quick screen for $19 or whatever. Have some reason to be sending the email, and have an offer to be giving them. Have some reason for them to be acting right now. That's what I would say. So that they're like, oh, look, they're having an offer. I should send this to Judy because I know she's got back pain,
Yeah.
right? Then it promotes the fact that like you exist, and there's a reason that you're doing this, and maybe it's a limited time offer, whatever. That's what I would be doing.
Yeah. Awesome. I love it. That's so good.
Can I just say one other thing? Because
Please.
the next logical question is, well, all right, when do I run ads?
Yeah.
Because that's what people always come to us with.
Yeah.
You have talked about this before, and so lots of credit to you, Aaron, for this. But it's just also what we've found as we've worked with our students time and time again, is that they feel like we'll have people all the time come to us because we're known for Facebook ads. People come to us and say, hey, we did this ad, like we didn't get anything out of it. Like, what's wrong with it?
Mm-hmm.
And very often we'll talk about, okay, who's your target audience? What's their pain point? What email follow-ups do you have in place? What's your, like, all these different pieces. And they're like, whoa, I had no clue. And it's like, okay, we love Facebook ads, don't get me wrong, but there's a lot of other stuff you need to have in place
Mm-hmm.
before running ads becomes a profitable activity for your business.
Right.
So really quickly, I just want to drop the things that I think about for those people who are considering running ads. So maybe you've decided 2019 is the year that, like, boom, I'm taking this business to the next level. Like, I'm breaking past this idea of I have to have physician referrals to keep my business afloat. I'm going all in, like what Aaron teaches. I'm going cash pay, like doing my own thing. Maybe I'm going to operate out of a gym for a while. Maybe I've got my business for a while already, and I just want to start creating new referral sources for myself.
Mm-hmm.
Here's what you have to have. This is like the laundry list, the checklist that I go through before I'm running any paid ads. Okay. Number one, I have to know who is the target patient that I would want to have in. Okay. I would be looking at who are the past patients that I've treated, that I love treating, that got better, that could afford me, all those things that I know that you talk about as well, Aaron.
Mm-hmm.
Figure out your target audience. Next, I would figure out what pain point can I help them with. So get very clear on one specific target audience, one specific pain point first, okay? I am not sitting down and thinking, okay, I'm going to plan out all my marketing campaigns all at once and like this massive thing. I just start with one, okay? One target patient, one pain point. And then I'm looking at what is some incentive that I can create for them to give me their name and email address. We call this a lead magnet, right?
Mm-hmm.
Ebooks, free video guide, quizzes are doing really well right now. Then I'm creating that. Next, I'm creating some landing page, some place either on my website, or if I'm really serious about it, I'll get something like Clickfunnels, and I'll create a page where someone can go opt in, where they can put their name and email address in, right? Then I'm also creating a short follow-up sequence through my email provider. If I don't have an email provider that can send out automated emails for me, then I'm jumping on something like MailChimp or ActiveCampaign, okay? Once I have my target audience, their pain point, a lead magnet, a landing page, and an email sequence in place, then I'm thinking about running my ads.
Mm-hmm.
Before that, doesn't make sense, right? The other thing I didn't talk about is having some sort of procedure for what happens when I get a new lead, right? If someone does give me their name and email address, how am I getting on the phone with them within 24 hours, if not sooner? What's that process look like? Who do they talk to? How do I get them into the clinic? Do I have a specific offer for them? All those things you need to have in mind, but I'm never running an ad until I have those things in place.
Right. Awesome. Would you also spend some time testing the free lead gen through organic traffic before you ran money to it?
Great. Let's define a couple of those terms.
Right.
So you just said organic. That means anything that's free, right? Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, whatever. So Aaron, you're just suggesting that, hey, let's take this free thing that we're making and see if anyone actually cares about it. Yeah, we should be starting with the lowest hanging fruit, right? Maybe send that out to our email address, to our email list of people who already know us and say, hey, I just made this back guide. Check it out. Or maybe you even ask a few people, do a little like case study, send it to 10 people, say, hey, I've got this new guide. Maybe it's with current patients. Would you read through this and let me know, like, is this good stuff? How did you feel about this? Do you think this was worth getting? And ask for honest feedback. So yeah, I would definitely be starting with, again, low hanging fruit. Where can I get some initial feedback? Could you like test it with paid ads? Sure. But it's definitely better to be putting something out there that we know works with people who already know us, so that when we're putting it in front of people who don't know us, we know that it's good enough to get them to take action on it.
Awesome. Yeah, because I think people are like, oh yeah, because I'm sitting there going, well, yeah, if I really want to do ads, oh, now I got that thing. Okay, let's go run some money to it. Hey, wait a minute, Alex, why doesn't it done work? Why are leads costing us $30 a lead, or why is no one downloading my ebook?
Yeah.
Well, is we targeting the right person? Do we have the right message? Do we have the right offer?
Yeah.
All those things have to matter.
All those things. And the great thing about this is why I love paid advertising so much, because it gives you data. Like, if it's your ad that sucks, if it's your opt-in page that sucks, if it's your follow-up sequence that sucks, because you can look at like, where is it expensive, right? If my ad is really expensive, then and what is expensive? It depends on your niche and all that stuff. I'm sure you teach that in your stuff. We do too. Like, okay, maybe it's that. Maybe it's my opt-in page. Maybe I sent, I got 50 clicks. People clicked on my ad 50 times, but 0 people opted in to my free guide. Well, okay, then maybe your opt-in page kind of sucks.
Right.
Boom, we can go in right there and fix that. It's so much faster to do that with paid marketing than it is with the free marketing, because you just can't get that volume of data as quickly on the free side.
What's the minimum someone needs to expect to spend a month, and for how long, to do paid advertisements, like online digital paid advertisements, not talking newspaper, like Facebook?
So if someone is just starting out, let's say you just rented some space in a gym, like you're just barely starting out and you're on a total shoestring budget. The bare minimum that you can actually pay for on Facebook is $1 a day. Okay. We recommend this $1 a day strategy for anyone who's in audience building mode, which is all of us. But for starting off, at least do this $1 a day where you can create one ad where it's, and the easiest way to do it is just create a video that is just pure value based. So like teaching someone one exercise for back pain, keep the video to under 1 minute. We have a whole 1 minute video formula if people are interested. Keep it to 1 minute, put it at $1 a day. And that way we can start at least generating awareness about ourselves. And later on, we can go track people who watch that video in Facebook and send them ads in the future. So that's like bare minimum where I would start. That's $30 a month. I feel like to really be like starting to crank up your marketing, if you're going Facebook, if you're going kind of Facebook and Instagram, then I really feel like you probably need to be looking at dropping somewhere between $200 and $300 starting off per month. I think that's a pretty solid starting point.
And that's still do it yourself.
That's still, that's doing it yourself. That's actual ad spend. Like that's how much I would be spending on Facebook/Instagram. And we could get into the discussion of why Facebook and Instagram for another day. But I would expect somewhere around that. The clinics who are bigger, who are, if you've got multiple clinic locations, that's a totally different story. But people will generally spend somewhere between $250 to $800-900, maybe $1,000+, depending on how big you end up getting. But like, look, if you're a modest sized clinic or you're just starting out, if you can allocate somewhere around $150 to $300 a month for your marketing budget, just on the Facebook side, like I think that could be a reasonable starting point.
Yeah.
And then within 3 months or so, like I'd want to start seeing a realistic ROI on that. You've got to give it the first month or two. It's just going to suck because you don't know, does my opt-in page work? Do I have an offer that works? Do I have my audience targeted in? That should take you 2 months-ish, 2 to 3 months to really start honing in. And then start saying, okay, sweet. I can run an offer ad where I'm saying, hey, come into the clinic for a $20 back pain assessment. And boom, I can get a couple of those $20 ones coming in. Boom, one upsells to a full plan of care. I just paid for my marketing budget for the past 3 months, right?
I love it because a lot of people come in like, oh, I've been doing Facebook ads for 2 weeks. It's not working. It's like 2 weeks.
It's a building process, man.
Right.
Like you can't expect to spend $10 and get a patient. That's if that worked, we'd all be like rolling in Lambos all over, man. Like,
Right.
it doesn't
Right.
work.
Lambos, like you're only a real player. Like real players don't only have one. Do you know that?
No, that's
Real
true.
players
That's true.
got 3 or 4 and they don't care how much it costs.
But yeah, I think having a realistic expectation going into that's really important. Just know that it's like, I get that it's a business cost. I get that there's not a lot of income up front as a business owner. But again, that's why I'm starting with the low hanging fruit, right? I'm getting my business to the point where I can afford $200, $300 a month and be cool with it.
Mm-hmm. And you should be able to get to a point where you spend $300 a month on it and you get 2 or 3 new patients a month. And you're like,
totally.
3,000, you put in 300, get 3,000 or more back.
Right. Where else are you getting that kind of ROI? But again, even if you're just starting off, I would really recommend this $1 a day strategy so that you're building an audience in the background. Like, build that audience in the background so that when you do have the $200 to $300, boom, you've got like 5,000 people who've already been watching your videos that you can go send ads to again. Also, please, please, please get your Facebook pixel up on your website. If you don't know what that is, come into our group. Yeah, Google it. We've got free tutorials on it. You got to get your Facebook pixel up. It's the little piece of code that tracks people who come to your website, and then you can send them ads even if they don't opt in.
And even if you're not ready to spend $30 a month now, it's get your pixel up ASAP. Like, that's probably the first thing to do, is to get the, go to your group, find that video and get that pixel on your website.
Totally. And the great thing is you can do that. You can retarget people 6 months later, up to 6 months. So even if you put it on now, if you're like, I'm not going to be ready for 5 months, that's just fine. You could still in the future be sending ads to people who came to your services page 6 months ago. You could be sending them ads. So pretty darn cool. It's well worth it to get up now. It's free.
Yeah, that's awesome. Small question.
Yes.
About the same thing. $1 a day strategy. At some point, wasn't the minimum $5 a day on ads?
So it depends on what kind of campaign you're running. Yeah. If you're running a video view campaign, which is the type that I would do for this $1 a day strategy, then it's $1. If you're running a link click or a lead gen campaign, like a conversion campaign, then it's $5. Okay. Which, by the way, none of us should be running conversion campaigns on Facebook. So if you're running those, turn those off, Aaron.
Why? What's the deal with conversion campaign versus
Facebook? They're really good for e-commerce stuff. Guys, like, super nerdy side note moment here. If you're running Facebook ads, you'll know what this means. But the conversion ads, Aaron, are optimized for e-commerce, where you're getting, I think it's 50 conversions per week. Okay. And under that, it can't optimize for them anyway. So you should be running them as traffic campaigns otherwise.
Got it. Okay. So conversion is when it tracks someone after they've downloaded your book or after they've bought your product.
Yep.
And if you have less than 50 a week, it's not really going to optimize for you the way it traffic.
Yeah, that's the minimum.
Okay. Got it. You guys dabble in Google ads?
We do. Will is our Google ads expert. So ask him about all the Google ads.
Okay. I'll do that when he comes on the show. I think he's in a few more weeks. And we got him.
Oh man, it's going to be so good.
Yeah, that's cool. I'll have to do that because Google's funny. Like, they send me the most people, but I can't pay them to send me people.
Really? Oh, you'll have to talk to.
Well, I can, but they won't so and I don't want to get too deep into this, but they won't let me retarget off my website or my blog.
Gotcha.
So I just got it, so because of their rules, and I just don't have the time to figure that out.
Yeah.
And I don't think
figured a lot of that out.
I don't know if you guys know, like, are you able to retarget people off healthcare websites? That's a Will question.
That's a Will question. Yeah. We teach all that. Will's the one who teaches that in our primary program. So he's dove into that big time.
I'll dig into Will on that one.
Dig into it.
Will, if you're listening, be ready. Alex, I think we could chat for another couple hours, but we're kind of running out of time, and for the episode, I don't want people to spend way too long here, and I got to go home for the weekend. So,
hey, all right.
Is there anything else from our conversation you think is important that people need to know that we might have left out?
Man, I just want people to know that like, if you're an entrepreneur and you're feeling like this is all really scary and really hard to do, and you don't know if you're going to make it, it's okay. Like, we all feel like that. And I know I have in the past year and a half, but what's helped me break through that and helped us have success. And I'd be interested to hear for you as well, Aaron. But what's really made the difference for us is building an audience. Like that's the most important thing, is just to be able to build a group of people who know you, who trust you, and who are willing to tell you how you can help them.
Mm-hmm.
That for us has been the biggest thing as online business owners, especially. And as someone who works with brick and mortar business owners every day, I just know it's scary, right? And it's like, how am I going to pay rent? How am I going to pay all the bills? Like I get, especially starting off, this stuff scary. But just know that if you're consistent in giving other people value online, things are going to work out. Okay. Things are totally going to work out. There's tons of opportunities to learn and grow. Please, please, please follow people who have been where you want to be. Like that, the reason that our business has grown so quickly is because we have mentors who have been where we want to be, and we have paid them money to teach us how they got there in a very personal way. Right. And that for us has just been a total game changer. So I know that early on, it's hard, it's scary. You can totally do this. You can make it through.
Awesome. Thanks, man. That's I love that. I appreciate that so much. So, Alex, if someone wants to get in touch with you, how do they find you? Tell us where do they find your Facebook group, and if there's anything else you have to offer, man, or something. Yeah.
So we, I talked about how Will and I started this Facebook group. It's called Healthcare Digital Marketing. So if you look it up on Facebook, just type in Healthcare Digital Marketing. Should be the first group that comes up. That's our home base. We teach every single week in there. And I know we've talked about how amazing you do in CashPT Nation. We teach the marketing side of things really deep in there, and we answer a lot of questions. And there's 2,000 other people who are in there learning the same stuff. Mm-hmm. So if you want free weekly training,
Tuesday Night Fever.
Night Fever, dude. Oh, I'm so glad that's a thing. I love Tuesday Night Fever.
That's awesome. Dude, that group's got 2,000 people already. That's awesome.
We're like 5 shy of 2,000 right now. So we're going to hit it here next week, which just blows my mind. Totally blows my mind. So Healthcare Digital Marketing on Facebook. If you're interested in learning how to grow a following online from an organic standpoint, meaning like the free stuff, like how do I grow on Facebook? How do I grow on Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn? Will and I just dropped a new course on that. It's called Social Secrets, which we're really excited about. And you can check that out at healthyfunnel.com/social secrets. Awesome. So those are 2 places you can go. We have, you mentioned, freebies. Yeah. We have probably like 30 different free marketing guides that we've put out in Healthcare Digital Marketing in our Facebook group. So if people go there, it's like an entire course.
So just go to the Facebook group to find those.
Go to the Facebook group, and you can look under the tags. We have so many free things, and you'll see people in there requesting them every single day. We send them out to them.
That's awesome. My groups don't have like the tags yet.
Dude, tags when they come, it's amazing.
It's like I got some other stuff. Like it would make my life so easy. I don't have those yet. It's crazy.
Yeah, we gotta get in touch with Mark Zuckerberg about that. Come on, Facebook.
I know. That's awesome, man. Well, Alex, thanks for spending time here today. Thanks for your friendship. Thanks for sharing your knowledge with everybody. I really appreciate it.
Aaron, total pleasure to be on here, man. I appreciate you.
Yeah. For the CashPT lunch hour, this is Aaron LeBauer and Alex Engar, and we'll see you guys next time. Peace out, y'all.